Just how does this Detroit Lions defense keep this up with all of these injuries? It's amazing.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's happening, everybody? Matt Derry with you. A Saturday edition of Locked On Lions right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Final day of November, Saturday, November 30th into Sunday, December 1st. Thank you for making us your first listen, checking us out wherever you get your podcast. Thank you to our everydayers as well for always chiming in, always listening and following us wherever you get your podcast, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Apple, Google, Spotify, whatever. We appreciate the everydayers that are with us daily. You know who you are. If you want to be a part of the show and you want to be our call of the day, which we will do on Monday and get a new batch coming in, you can leave us a voicemail at our SpeakPipe voicemail system at speakpipe.com/Dairy Podcast page. Lions fresh off the Thanksgiving Day win over the Bears. Bears fire Matt Eberflus yesterday. Today we've received word Mekhi Wingo's season is over. Malcolm Rodriguez's season is over. The Lions defense is a complete mash unit. Think about all of the guys who have now had season-ending injuries, and yet this team has still won 10 straight games, sit at 11-1, and now have to figure out where they're going to go from here on out with just, the linebackers and the defensive line. They're running out of players. But I love what Dan Campbell said yesterday. He's like, we don't care. We don't give a you-know-what. It's next man up. We've got a system. We've got a philosophy. We'll get the next guys up and running, and there's going to be no excuses. This Lions team, they want to get to the Super Bowl, and they don't care how many guys are out. But we do have to update you on the injury situation, which we will do. We got to get into Brad Holmes picking up some players, which he has done off the practice squads of other teams. And there's other players out there that maybe Brad Holmes is going to have to look at. We got the PFF grades, top 5 and bottom 5 Lion performers on offense and defense from Thanksgiving Day's 23-20 win over the Chicago Bears. And Green Bay is coming up this week on Thursday. So another quick week and quick turnaround for the Lions as they face the Packers at Ford Field for Thursday Night Football on Amazon. Locked On Lions today, brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first ticket purchase. All right, so as I mentioned before, the Lions have lost so many guys to injuries. I mean, this is crazy. We are heading into week 13, and the Lions are going to be without Aiden Hutchinson, Marcus Davenport, John Kaminsky, Derek Barnes, Mekhi Wingo now, Malcolm Rodriguez, Alex Anzalone. I mean, is there anybody left on this defense? My gosh, they won Thursday without Carlton Davis, without Emmanuel Mosley. The linebacking group at the start of the year, we looked up and said the Lions are going to carry 5 linebackers. Jack Campbell, Derek Barnes, Alex Anzalone, Malcolm Rodriguez, and Ben Neiman. We're now down to Campbell and Neiman, and that's it. David Long now is going to have to play more. Lions also have picked up Kwon Alexander. We'll talk about that. It's crazy. It's a testament to the job that Aaron Glenn and the defensive staff has done. Dan Campbell, of course, kind of overseeing it all. But let's start with Malcolm Rodriguez. Torn ACL on Thursday in the win over the Bears. His season is now done. This is a devastating blow to the defense because, number one, and by the way, I forgot about Jalen Reeves-Maybin, who's also on injured reserve right now. That's another linebacker the Lions don't have. But Rodrigo is having a really good year, playing really, really well. He's one of the Lions' best special teams players. So for punt returns and kick coverage, that's going to hurt. He has had a really, really solid year and is a great leader out there. And this just sucks that he tore his ACL Thursday against the Bears. The Mekhi Wingo injury is unbelievable because this man, a rookie defensive lineman from LSU, the D tackle, who has really been solid this year. And in the first 11 games that he played in, he's been so good, so good. He injured his knee on Thursday against the Bears, left the game, and came back. Dan Campbell today said, quote, Wingo is going to be out. He'll be done for the season. His knee will probably require surgery, so that's another one. Hate that for him, but I think everything will be clean and he'll be healed up for next year, and that's good news. Wingo and his teammates all talked about today. He was playing through this knee injury on Thursday because the Lions were so shorthanded when Onwuzurike went out of the game and Pascal went out of the game. This kid's tough as nails, man. He's going to have to undergo knee surgery. It's likely an ACL or an MCL. And he was playing through it on Thursday. Props to Mekhi Wingo for gutting it out and trying to stay out there. But the Lions are in need of help on defense. They're running out of players. Thursday against Green Bay, I have no clue who's going to be out. Kyle Pecco, another guy out for the year that the Lions had at the start of the season. Josh Pascal and Levi Onwuzurike both likely going to miss the Green Bay game on Thursday. Today, Dan Campbell told the media, quote, Pascal, it's hard to say. Really, he and Levi are day-to-day. I think Pascal has a better shot than Levi of playing Thursday. I don't know. I'm not real optimistic about either one of them playing against the Packers, but I guess Pascal's got a better shot. Both of those guys were hurt this weekend. This is crazy. Who's left? Who's left on the D line? DJ Reader, Aleem McNeil, Al-Qadim Muhammad. And we'll tell you about what Brad Holmes is going to have to look at and do and try to get some healthy bodies in here. This is insane. It's insane. Maybe the Lions should call up 37-year-old Ndamukong Suh. Ndamukong Suh has always been in shape. He always stays in shape. Would they want to bring him back? Would you want to have the Suh experience for the rest of the season? Now, what the Lions are going to do, and we're going to tell you about this coming up next, but what the Lions need to do is they need to scour other teams' practice squads, find players that have been elevated and have played in games this year, and pluck those guys away. That's the only thing you can do as we are in November and December. The trade deadline is come and gone. I don't know if you're going to call up Ndamukong and ask him to come out of retirement. He hasn't played football in 2 years. But in all seriousness, this is where you're going to have to go. You're going to have to find players from practice squads on other teams that have had some game experience this year. There's a kid with the Giants, Boogie Basham, who the Lions saw when they had the joint practices earlier in the year in August, and also the first preseason game when the Lions played the Giants. Basham is a guy that has a handful of sacks, has played for the Giants, but he's still on their practice squad. They're kind of hiding him there. That's a guy you probably have to go get. But, man, I mean, all of these guys being hurt, and you've got a very, very big game Thursday against Green Bay. Packers are 8-3 and playing pretty good football. And you're out of bodies. Out of bodies. We'll tell you what Brad Holmes has already done as the Lions are looking and searching for defensive linemen. You love what Dan Campbell has said about next man up, and I get all that. There's only you got to be healthy. It's in every sport. Sometimes the healthiest team is the team that wins it all, or is the team that gets the furthest. And right now, the Lions, especially on defense, are just completely banged up. Now, Emmanuel Mosley got hurt during warmups on Thursday, and that's why he was inactive for the game against the Bears. According to Dan Campbell, quote, E-Man, I think he's going to be good to go. He had a little something that flared up on him. It didn't feel right. Just knowing what we were going to ask him to do, we didn't want to take that risk of having him try to open up and run, but it looks like he's going to be fine. End quote. Carlton Davis, day-to-day with a broken thumb and injured knee, did not play against the Colts on Thanksgiving. Day-to-day questionable, according to Campbell, for Thursday. Of course, we saw the Kindle Vildor experience and the Khalil Dorsey experience against the Bears. We know about the Packers and their wide receivers. We know how well Jaden Reed is playing, Dobbs. I know Christian Watson's been in and out of the lineup. He always seems to be hurt. Wicks. I mean, the Packers got some receivers. So we'll see how it goes for this weekend. All right. What is Brad Holmes doing in the interim? Plus the PFF grades as well. All of that coming up right here on Locked On Lions. It is a Saturday edition. We're ending the week for this week. We'll be back again on Monday, but a little special Saturday show right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. And Locked On Lions for this Saturday are brought to you by the Gametime app. Looking for tickets for anything, including Pistons and Bucks on Tuesday. This NBA Cup is heating up, and the Pistons are 3-0. You're looking to go to the game? You can get the tickets for that and much, much more, including Lions Packers on Gametime. Gametime has a new feature called Gametime Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Gametime Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats. You don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. All-in pricing is great, so you toggle this feature, which shows the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. So when you are searching and you don't even check out yet, and maybe you don't want the tickets, you can see what the total is plus the fees right away. The view from your seat is great as well. I love the Gametime app, have it on my phone, and I'm going to it all of the time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? We know what time it is. It is game time. All right, back on Locked On Lions right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Matt Derry with you on a Saturday edition. Lions fresh off their 10th straight win, knocking off the Bears on Thanksgiving. Matt Eberflus fired the next day by the Bears. Apparently there was like a mutiny in the locker room afterwards, and Eberflus walked out because the players were so pissed off that he did not call a timeout at the end of that game. And we talked about it the other day. It was coaching malfeasance, and now he's gone. So Lions have ended Matt Eberflus's coaching career with the Bears, and you have to figure today Michigan ended Ryan Day's coaching career at Ohio State. How is Ryan Day still employed right here, right now, as I'm recording it, 4:30 on Saturday? My goodness. Shout out to the Wolverines for a great game today. I mean, they're no good, but they beat Ohio State again. They beat them every year now. It's unbelievable. Great job by Sharon Moore and them to outcoach Ryan Day yet again. All right, so two moves that have been made already by Brad Holmes to aid in the roster. We know Mekhi Wingo is going to be gone, so he's going to be replaced right now by big Jonah Williams, longtime Rams defensive tackle that's been on the practice squad and on the roster. He was an undrafted guy that when Brad Holmes was with the Rams back in 2020, had him on the roster. He's bounced around a couple of different teams and now is back with the Rams on their practice squad. Jonah Williams is now a Detroit Lion. You got to figure he's going to play on Thursday against the Packers. Pretty big body, run stuffer, also can rush the passer. The right pickup, certainly for the Lions. They need defensive tackles, especially now with Mekhi Wingo gone. Interesting pickup that Kwon Alexander, the 30-year-old linebacker, who has kind of been a vagabond over the years, is now a Detroit Lion as well, as Alexander was plucked off of the Denver Broncos practice squad. He had played in a handful of games this year, had been elevated a few times, but Kwon Alexander was a guy that a few years ago was a mid-round pick of the Bucks. His just biggest issue has been health. Kwon Alexander has torn his ACL twice. He tore his Achilles last year playing for the Steelers, was not ready to come back until about September of this season. The Broncos signed him to their practice squad. He played a few games for them. And now the Lions have a veteran linebacker that was in Tampa, that was in Pittsburgh, played for the Jets, signed a pretty big deal with the Niners years ago, like 4 years and $34 million, and then got traded out of San Francisco. But this is a guy in the right scheme with the right defensive coaches. He's an NFL player. I didn't know Kwon Alexander was even available. But he was on the Broncos practice squad. This is a good signing. Look, the Lions have had to gone out and gotten linebackers. David Long from Tennessee and the Dolphins, and now Kwon Alexander from the Broncos. You got to have NFL players playing on your team. Okay. So I like the pickup. He's a good football player. He's solid. And I think working with Kelvin Shepard in that linebacker room, you're going to need all the help you can get. Like I said, you started the year with six linebackers. Now you're down to 2 that were starting the season with you in Jack Campbell and Ben Neiman. The others, Rodrigo, Jalen Reeves-Maybin, Anzalone, Derek Barnes, all on injured reserve. I know Reeves-Maybin can come back soon. Anzalone can come back toward the end of the year. Rest of the guys done for the year. Just absolutely sucks. I mentioned Boogie Basham before from the Giants. I think that's another guy the Lions need to take a good long look at because he can rush the passer, kind of an edge / hybrid linebacker defensive end. That is somebody that at least is out there that the Lions can take a look at and pluck from another practice squad. But regardless, like I said before, these injuries just are brutal. But yet this team keeps winning. It's a testament to this coaching staff that they can plug and play guys that didn't work other places. Like I said, David Long was cut by the Titans. Kwon Alexander wasn't signed to anybody's active roster. Let's see if these guys can come in and help. It really is next man up, and it's not going to be very easy the next 2 weeks. Green Bay and Buffalo, 2 very good offenses coming in to Ford Field back to back. All right, how did the Lions do in the eyes of Pro Football Focus on Thursday in their win over the Bears on Thanksgiving, 23-20? As far as our friends at PFF go, here were your top 5 Lion players offensively, and then we'll get to the bottom 5 in terms of their grades. Top Lion on offense was Kevin Zeitler, Lions' very good right guard, who finished with a 91 grade. Penei Sewell was second at 88.9. Frank Ragnow third at 84.0. So again, the offensive line doing the job. Jared Goff fourth with a 78.9 grade, and David Montgomery a grade of 72.1. Those are your top 5 Lions from offense or on offense from Thursday. Bottom 5. Graham Glasgow, 50.7, which isn't even a bad grade. Dan Skipper, 53.3. J-Mo, 56.3. Brock Wright, 63.2. And Sam Laporta, 64.4. Those are your bottom 5 Lions on offense. Defensively for Detroit, before he got injured, Josh Paschal was at an 86.0. Only played 7 snaps. Zadarius Smith, another solid game. Man, he's been a nice pickup so far by Brad Holmes, 77.5. Guy we gave a game ball to the other day, Al-Qadim Muhammad, who's going to be playing a big role from here on out. A 73.2 grade off the edge. 4th best grade was Jack Campbell, 68.5. And coming in 5th, played 32 snaps, Khalil Dorsey at 65.4. By the way, Ezekiel Turner, the linebacker who's been on the Lions practice squad, played 22 snaps, had a 63 grade. He's going to be another guy that's going to have to play a lot down the stretch. Bottom 5 Lions on defense from Thursday. Mekhi Wingo, before he got injured with a knee, 29.9. Amik Robertson, 44.2 grade. Terrion Arnold did not have a good game, 46.1, at least in the eyes of PFF. Levi Onwuzurike, before he got injured, 51.1. And Trevor Nowaski, a 52.5. So those are your top 5 Lions on offense and defense from Thursday's win against the Bears. And as I said the other day, and I'll say it again, a win's a win. All right, Lions were disappointing in the second half. Sloppy, went away from what was working. Jahmyr Gibbs had 1 carry in the second half, which cannot happen. Lions need to be running the football with Montgomery and Gibbs and keeping that going. They let the Bears back into that game and got lucky at the end of that game, to be honest. The Vildor penalty I hated. I did not think that was a good call at all. But you cannot allow Chicago, after leading 23-7, to get in a position to even tie that football game. It's the flipping Bears. But the Lions did that. but you win close games. You play some games that you don't play very well in. You hope to escape and win those, and that's what the Lions did. And they've won 10 in a row. And now they've got to be much, much better and clean it up a little bit for Thursday night, 8:20, Ford Field, when the Green Bay Packers come to town. Of course, Packers took care of the Dolphins Thursday night and blew them out in that game on Thanksgiving evening. Man, the Dolphins just cannot win in cold weather, can they? My God, that's pathetic. But Green Bay's good. We know that. We've seen the Packers up close already once this year. Lions going for the regular season sweep. All right, coming up next, we talk a little bit more about the Packers. This is going to be a very, very entertaining game Thursday night, a game that I will be in attendance for. I'm excited about that. We'll do that coming up next right here on Locked on Lions. And we got a full slate of college football here on a Saturday evening, including the old Oaken Bucket game between Purdue and Indiana. You want to get in on the NFL action as well this Sunday? Do so at America's #1 sports book, that is FanDuel. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win at FanDuel. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. So besides the Bears, I still think that when you look at the NFC North, and the Bears really aren't that bad. They're so poorly coached, but you saw what happened on Thursday with Caleb Williams, DJ Moore, and DeAndre Swift, Keenan Allen, Cole Kmet. They're not terrible. They've lost 5 in a row, but they're not, or 6 in a row now. They're not horrible. The NFC North is a slobber knocker. Here's Minnesota at 9-2. They just seem to win every week. Now Green Bay's coming in at 8-3 with Jordan Love feeling good about himself. Their young defense really, really starting to come on. And here come the Packers to Ford Field on Thursday. And the last couple of weeks, we've seen it. Look, the Lions are playing the schedule that they were handed, right? But the last couple of weeks, we've seen the Tennessee Titans, who stink, Jacksonville, who we've seen, bad. Colts on the road 2 weeks ago, Lions had no issues with them. And, of course, Thanksgiving Day, the Lions led the Bears 16-0. Shabuzi was on the field more in the first half than Caleb Williams and the Bears offense was. Bears came back, made it an interesting game. But now this week, it starts to ramp up. All right, the Lions have 5 games left. They've got to face San Francisco, and San Francisco, not going to be an easy game. It's not. They've got to play Chicago in Chicago with a new coach. Never easy at Soldier Field. They got to go host Minnesota later in the last game of the year. Vikings are on the Lions' tails, only a game and a half back. Next 2 weeks, it's Green Bay and Buffalo, both at home. And the Lions are playing really well. The Lions are the best team in the NFL. They are. But with all these injuries and having to call in guys from other teams and make all these moves, and it's a short week now. Yes, it's Thursday to Thursday, so it's technically the same as normal, but just with your body clocks and schedules and everything else, never easy to get a back-to-back where you're playing on 2 straight Thursdays. And Green Bay, I know, is doing the same thing as the Lions because they played this Thursday as well. But Jordan Love is in a good rhythm right now. Josh Jacobs is a monster coming out of that backfield. And so this is going to be a tough game Thursday night. It's going to be loud. It's going to be raucous. It's going to be awesome at Ford Field. I'm excited to be there and head down there as a guest of one of our everydayers, the legendary Turner Batdorf. We'll be down there together. But this is going to be a really hard game. And if there's no Onzarike and there's no Pascal, And I don't know who is going to be rushing the passer outside of Al-Qadim Muhammad and Trevor Nowaski and whoever else they try to trot out there. It is, I'm assuming Ukwu or somebody's coming up from the practice squad. They signed Jonah Williams, but Zadarius Smith's gonna have to do his thing. Look, he's wanted to play the Packers. He's wanted a shot at Matt LaFleur and Brian Gutekunst because he thought he was being unfairly treated at the end of his tenure with the Packers. And he's played them before when he went to Minnesota and everything else. But you're going to see a fired up Zadarius Smith this weekend, which I'm pumped about. Green Bay's playing really well. And yes, Jordan Love makes some throws that make your head scratch. But that's an 8-3 team coming in Thursday. This is going to be a very, very dangerous game. And I'm just hoping Lions have a good week of practice, get some of these new guys acclimated, get some guys back and healthy. Hopefully Carlton Davis is back for this game. Hopefully Terrion Arnold's fine. Hopefully Emmanuel Mosley can play because I'm a little bit wary, of the Kindle Vildor experience and certainly Khalil Dorsey. But man, this is going to be a heck of a football game. We'll get you the crossover on Wednesday with Peter Bukowski. By the way, Pete's on social media taking shots at the Lions, apparently, for being cheap shot artists, for hitting guys out of bounds. Hello, Caleb Williams the other day was running out of bounds for the Bears and then just stopped. And he was complaining that Jack Campbell undercut him. No, Caleb, you stopped. I don't want to hear about Campbell cheap shotting Caleb Williams. That was not a cheap shot. Caleb Williams had a beeline for the sideline. If he just keeps running, Jack doesn't touch him. Instead, he put on the brakes so much, he deserved to be tackled in the field of play. And I'm sorry that he got undercut a little bit. That's the way it goes. That was a clean hit. I don't want to hear about the Lions being cheap shot artists. Give me a break. What? Because Justin Fields said that on the St. Brown podcast this offseason? Ooh, please. Don't want to hear it. All right. That'll do it for us for this Saturday edition of Locked On Lions. Great week. Lions and Packers this week. We're back again on Monday with a fresh episode of Locked On Lions.